Chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita as it is. The three modes of material nature. All embodied souls are under the control of the three modes, or qualities, of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Lord Krishna explains what these modes are, how they act upon us, how one transcends them, and the symptoms of one who has attained the transcendental state.
Param bhuyaha pravakshami jnanam jnanam uttamam yatyatva munyaha sarve param siddhim gita.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again, I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection."
Idam jnanam upashritya mam sadharmyam agata sargepi na upajayante pralayena vyathanti cha.
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution.
Mama yoni mehet brahma tasmin garbham dadhamyaham sambhavah sarvabhutanam tataha bhavati bharat.
The total material substance, called Brahman, is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Sarvayonishu kaunteya muratyaha sambhavantiya tasam brahma mehta yoni aham vitradaha pita.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father.
Sattvam rajaha tamaha iti gunaha prakriti sambhava nibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakasham anamyayam sukha sangen baddhati ज्ञानसंगेन च नघ.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge.
रजः रागात्मकं विद्धि तृष्णासङ्गसमुद्भवम् तत्निबध्नाति कौन्तेय कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनम्.
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti. And because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material, fruitive actions.
तमः तु अज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तत्निबध्नाति भारत.
O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul.
Sattvam sukhe sanjayati Rajah karmani bharat Jnanam avrityatu tamal Pramade sanjayati uta.
O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive action. And ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness.
Rajah tamaha cha abhibhuya Sattvam bhavati bharat Rajah sattvam tamaha chaye Tamaha sattvam Rajah tatha.
Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Sarvadvareshu dehe asmin prakasha upjayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivriddham sattvam iti uta.
The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge.
Lobha prakriti arambha karmanam ashamha spriha rajasi etani jayante vivradhe bharata rashabh.
O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
Aprakashaha apravrittihi cha pramadaha mohaha eva cha tamasi etani jayante vivraddhe kurunandana.
When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested.
Yada sattve pravriddhetu pralayam yati dehabhrita tada uttam vidam lokan amlan pratipadyate.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure, higher planets of the great sages.
Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangishu jayate tatha pralinah tamasi mudhayonishu jayate.
When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth amongst those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom.
Karmanaha sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasaha tu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasa phalam.
The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness.
Sattvat sanjayate jnanam rajasah lobha eva cha pramad moha tamasa bhavata ajnanam eva cha.
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness, madness, and illusion.
Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tishthanti rajasa jaghanye gunvritti stha adha gachanti tamasa.
Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
Nayam gunebhyah kartaram yada drishtanupashyati गुणेभ्यः च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सः अधिगच्छति.
When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature.
गुणानेतानतीत्य त्रीन् देहि देह समुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्यु जरा दुःखे विमुक्तः अमृतं अश्नुते.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life.
कैलिङ्गे त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतः भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथं च एतान् त्रीन् गुणान् अतिवर्तते.
Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? And how does he transcend the modes of nature?
प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तितं च मोहम् एव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति. उदासीनवत् आसीना गुणैः यः न विचाल्यते गुणाः वर्तन्ते इति एव्या अवतिष्ठति नैङ्गते. समदुःख सुखः स्वस्था समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चना तुल्यप्रिया प्रियाः धीराः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुति. मानापमानयो तुल्या तुल्याः मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भा परित्यागी गुणातीतः सः उच्यते.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature.
Mam chayaha avyabhicharin bhakti yogen sevate sagunan samatityayetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Brahmana hi pratisthaham amritasya avyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Thus ends chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita as it is. The Yoga of the Supreme Person. Chapter 15 describes that the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity surrenders unto him and engages in his devotional service.
Urdhvamulam adhe shakham ashvatham prahu avyayam chandasi yasya prananiyaha tam ved saha vedve.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas."
Adhah cha urdhvam prasritaah tasya shakhaah guna pravriddhaah vishaya pravaraah adhah cha mulani anusantatani karmanubandhini manushya-loke.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
Na rupam asyaih tata upalabhyate na antah na cha adi na cha sampratishtha ashwatham enam suvirudhamulam asang shastren दृढेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत् परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गताः न निवर्तन्ति भूय तम् एव च आद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Nirmanu moha jit sang dosha adhyatma nityaha vinivritta kamaha dvandeha vimuktaha sukha dukha sange gachanti amudhaha padam avyayam tat.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto that Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Na tat bhasyate suryaha na shashankaha na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tadham paramam mam.
That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
Mam eva anshaha jivloke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha manaha shasthani indriyani prakriti sthane karishati.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
Shariram yat avapnoti yatcha api utramati ishvaraha grihitva etani sanyati vayuha gandhan iva ashyat.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
Shrotram chakshuha sparshanam cha rasnam ghranam eva cha adhishthaye manah chayam vishyan upasevate.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढाः नानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
यतन्त योगिं चायनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्ताः प्रियकृतात्मानः नयनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसाः.
The endeavoring transcendentalists, who are situated in self-realization, can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
यत् आदित्ये गतं तेजः जगद्भास्येत् अखिलम् यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नो तत्तेजः विद्धि मामकम्.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me.
गामलाविश्ये च भूतानि धारयामि अहं ओजसा पुष्णामि च औषधीः सर्वाः सोमः भूत्वा रसात्मकाः.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
अहं वैश्वानरः भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहम् आश्रिताः प्राणापान समायुक्ताः पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधम्.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
सर्वस्येऽहं हृदि सन्निविष्टाः मत्तः समृद्धिः ज्ञानम् अपोहनम् च वेदेह च सर्वेऽहम् एव वेद्याः वेदान्तकृता वेदवित् एव च अहम्.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
Daima Purusho Loke Ksharaha Chaksharaha Eva Cha Ksharaha Sarvani Bhutani Kutasthaha Ksharaha Uchyate.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
उत्तम पुरुषाः तु अन्याः परमात्मा इति उदाहृताः यः लोकत्रयं अविश्य बिभर्ति अव्यय ईश्वराः.
Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
यस्माक्षरम् अतीताहम् अक्षरादपि च उत्तमाः अतः अस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथिताः पुरुषोत्तमाः.
Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person.
यः मामेवम् असम्मूढाः जानाति पुरुषोत्तमम् सः सर्वविद् भजति माम् सर्वभावेन भारत.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृत्कृत्य च भारत.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Thus ends Chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita as it is.